So in this video, I'm going to be answering questions from you, the community. Each month, I make a community post where you can ask your questions about the credit card world, credit card strategies, life updates, or anything in between. And today, I'll cover my #1 planned luxury travel redemption for 2024, as well as a preview on how I made that redemption, my thoughts on airline status and is it worth it, and trips I have booked for the upcoming year. Now, I answer all of those questions and more in a monthly live stream, but of course, I can't cover all of those questions in this particular video, so if you want to watch the full unedited live stream, I'll leave a link to that video up top, as well as down in the description below. But with that being said, let's get right into it. We have a couple questions from people from before, so let's start with the first one, which comes from my man Jake Vanderplug. He asked, is there a Mrs. Frog or Mr. Frog? And I'm happy to say, Jake, that I do have a Miss Frog, and Miss Frog and I have gotten engaged earlier this year. So I'm really happy to announce that we're getting married very early on in spring of 2024. So we've been really into the wedding planning season. And for those of you who are married, know that it's a kind of a big deal with the wedding. If you have to plan it out, and there's a lot of things going on, like getting a venue set and all the different vendors and invitations. So we're doing all that stuff. And so the reason why I bring that up is because when there's a wedding, there's typically going to be a honeymoon, right? And so our honeymoon actually is going to end up being at the end of 2024. And that really segues us to our next question, which is Mr. Matt Welter, one of my good friends, Matt Welter. Him and I have been doing this YouTube thing pretty much the entire time since we first started. We started together, and so we've become really good friends. And so I really appreciate that, the camaraderie we've had with each other. So let's go, Stan. What is #1 on your list as a future luxury travel redemption? And so the reason why I mentioned the honeymoon is that the honeymoon is actually my #1 on my list. Now, there are two locations. We're going to talk about that, 2 locations. For the honeymoon, it's going to be in late November. We did that so we could go ahead and redeem our points in the way that is the most effective. Also, the places we're going to go to between November and I would say January, February is the best time to go because it's less humid in that area. And so with that, this is actually where we plan on going. And so if you look at the slide here, you can see that our #1 goal is to go to Japan and Thailand. Congrats, Stan, from Ahmad. Thank you so much, Ahmad. Appreciate it. Tony, it's going to be an amazing wedding and honeymoon. Stan, thank you so much, sir. And let's see here. Thank you, Chad, for this, by the way. Quick pointer, priorities members, and then super chats will give particularly relevant comments some shine. Perfect. Thank you, Chad. I know you're a pro at this, so I'm going to take that into account as well. All right. So anyways, back to the honeymoon redemption. We're going to be traveling to Japan and Thailand. I put on the side there what my MR point bank was and what my Bonvoy point bank was, because we have already executed these redemptions. I didn't do it alone. I did it with help. I'll go into that in a moment. But for Japan, our plan is to go to Tokyo. We'll be there for about a week. And then in Thailand, we'll go there afterwards. We'll probably go through Singapore. And then we will stop by in Phuket for a couple days and then go to Bangkok for a couple days. I'm half Thai. My fiance is also full Thai. And so, luckily she speaks Thai. I speak no Thai, I speak only English. So it'll be good to have her around, but we're excited. She's been to both countries, Japan and Thailand. I've actually never been to Japan before in my life. I want to go so badly. And so I'm happy to go later on next year. Excuse me. And in Thailand, I've been there, but about 20 years ago. So it's been a long time since I've been to either of those countries. So it's going to be a great time. And I hope that, we have a really great time while we're there. Having said that, I did mention earlier in the chat that in the live stream, that I'm not the best when it comes to redeeming internationally for the best redemption, because as we all know, it's very hard to execute these redemptions, and it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes effort. And I'm at a point in my life where I could sit down and learn the game, go on C-Arrow, look at all the stuff and try to make that redemption myself. And I think if you guys are younger and you guys have a lot of time, I think that's great because you can really get the best redemption you can possible. But again, I have a full-time job. I run this YouTube channel. I have time for my family and friends. I like to outsource this stuff because I just don't have the time to learn it the right way and do it the right way. And so I know that I met this guy, JP Knowledge, at the Las Vegas meetup, and you guys know him from his channel. And I actually know that he recently started a service to book points and miles. And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, JP, how can we do this? I want to go during this date, during this time. How can we make these redemptions? He gave outstanding advice, excellent advice, stuff that I never would have even thought of researching it myself. And I know that JP Knowledge is a good guy to do this for because he does it himself as well. And so what I did was I hired him, and for a modest fee, he actually looked at the redemptions and would text me, hey, Stan, the redemption you want is here, go get it. And so I went in and did it myself. And then he did it for both the flight going from LA to Japan, as well as from Japan back to LA. And so I didn't have to look at C-Star Air every day or look at the thing every day to see when I had to redeem the flights. I had someone else do it for me, and I got outstanding redemptions. And I'm very happy with him. And I had a lot of questions, so I had someone to go back and forth with. And so if you ever are in the situation that I'm in, where you may value that time more than the money aspect of it, he's a good resource. And I would definitely recommend those services if that's something helpful to you. So anyways, that is kind of the story with the number one redemption. I'll make sure I got the question answered. Anyways, so this, the membership rewards points, that's down to maybe $75,000 or 75,000 points now. This Marriott, I think it's down to 250. So there's that too. And so that's exactly what I did for those redemptions. Looking forward to it. I will post a video. This video is going to be about a year out because I want to make it so that I go there, film the stuff, and then post the video and the redemptions. So this is kind of like a preview. So if you're here with me in a year from now, you'll be able to see this redemption video, and it's going to be a good one. So there's that. Matt Clausen, new member. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining, Matt. I really appreciate you and what you do and bring it out to the community. I see here, just going back real quick, Josh Butler, that's going to be an awesome trip, Stan. Nice work on earning a ton of points. That's very true. I did take 2 to 3 years to just accrue a bank. I am a fan of the earn and burn strategy. I did mention in a previous video that I'm kind of banking these points, and it's not good to do that, but it was for this honeymoon redemption. So now I'm just burning them as fast as I possibly can, just getting them out of my system. And so burning them is really helpful. So moving forward, after the honeymoon, my plan is to kind of just do the earn and burn like you're supposed to do. But if, again, you have a plan for your points, this is really important to do as well. Okay. Luke Points and Miles. Sounds like a great honeymoon. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. Let's see here. One of the greats when it comes to CC content. Killing it, Stan. Thanks so much, KC Win. Appreciate it. And of course, Luke Points and Miles. Stan, I honestly had no clue you were half Thai. It's hard. Sometimes people think I'm Korean. I get that a lot. Like, Stan, are you Korean? And so I'm not. I'm actually half Chinese, half Thai. But that is, it's hard to tell sometimes. And I get that. So, but yes, that is my nationality. Great. We have some more stuff here. Okay. Olivia Yu is in the house. Olivia, would be interested to see a vid on your back and forth with JP. Yep. Better, I guess, next time, because we didn't actually record any of that stuff. But definitely great guy, very knowledgeable, great service. Again, there's plenty of points gurus out there on different websites that aren't YouTubers that offer this type of service. I would encourage you to know who you're going to do this with, because I met JP. He's an awesome guy, as well as the other creators here in the chat. So I think that's very, very cool. And so that's why I went with JP. Maybe the other people have done it longer than he has, but I trust the guy, and he executed it excellently. None of this, I had confirmed seats, which I think is the most important, right? And so when you do these redemptions, sometimes you get on a wait list, especially to the Asian countries. I don't want that. I want to sit next to my fiance during the flight, right? So that's important to me. So that was something I prioritized more than the actual cent per point value. But we got those. They're confirmed seats. And so I'm super pumped, super excited for that. Got some super chats in the house. Chad's Money Minutes here. Here's to more drinks at the Waldorf. Congrats on the stream. Keep them coming. Thank you so much for the $10 spot, Chad. Yes, Chad and I actually met up in Las Vegas during the meetup as well. And we actually were able to get some drinks down at the Waldorf Astoria Sky Bar. So that was super chill. I will be returning to that hotel. Excellent hotel. I love it. I do go to Las Vegas fairly often. I actually went there just a couple days ago. And so it's definitely great. So definitely going to have more live streams. Definitely going to help you guys out more often, hopefully, with these things here. Another super chat here. Luke's Points and Miles, $10. And thank you so much, sir. There's nothing here in the chat, but you've been very active here in the chat. So I really do appreciate that. Okay. Next question. Let's keep on moving here. Number 3. on a JP Knowledge, what are your feelings with airline status? Have you / would you ever try to pursue it? Or do you believe the cost and time isn't worth the benefits given? So I'd have to say that based on what everyone is saying here in the credit card community is airline status is not really that great. I think it's good if you fly the way that they want you to organically, like you spend the amount of money you do and you happen to get status, or you fly about a segments and you happen to get status. That's all really, really important. But I don't think I would ever go out of my way to get airline status. And from my knowledge, there's no credit card that makes you get into like an airline status. Also, you have to actually earn it through either spending or through by flying segments. And so basically, when we talk about have you or would you ever try to pursue it, I do actually have airline status. And so that's shown in this slide here. I am A-list preferred on Southwest. I'm also Premier Silver on United. And I put this here just to kind of explain that. So for Southwest, A-list preferred is the highest tier, followed by A-list, followed by basically nothing. So what's really exciting is that next year, Southwest is going to lower their requirements from segments from 50 to 40 on A-list preferred and 25 to 20 on A-list. And the reason why you want to get A-list preferred is, as you know, it's kind of like a Greyhound bus where you have to get into like this ABC line and then fight for your seat, like depending on where you're on the line. If you're if you don't have status with the airline, what you do is you have to wait on your phone and 24 hours into that system, check in real fast, right? So you're gonna check in and hopefully you're gonna get something. You'll probably get something like B50 or something really lame, right? But if you're A-list as a status, what happens is 36 hours beforehand, they'll check you in. And you end up getting something like A30, A40. And just so to go back a little bit, A1 through 60 is one boarding group, then B1 through 60, then C1 through 60. A-list preferred, you get before them as well. And so you get something like A20, 25, something like that. And then you have the business class gets A1 through 15 as well as early boarding if you want to buy that. So you can see here on the screen that I do have 49 of 50 flights. So I just barely make it with the segments. I don't actually spend enough to do A-list preferred, but the segments I fly so much domestically that I actually can make it just there. There's one that's actually I am taking a flight at the end of the December. Also, one thing I want to point out, I just remember this. For those of you Southwest flyers, this is super important. Just listen to this. If you are going for segments for status, when you book a one-way flight, when you land, that one-way flight gets credited. However, if you book a round trip flight, you only get credit after that second flight is done. So you get booked with one flight for one way and two for two way. So why that's important is that because I booked this one-way flight at the end of the month, so it will credit before January 1st when everything resets. If you book a round trip flight and that flight goes from, like, for example, December 31st to January 1st, you will get credit for those two flights on the 1st. And so you won't actually get the credit for this. And in this situation, I want to make sure I'm getting that one flight because I don't want to have it roll over and like I lose my A-list preferred status because I didn't do it the right way. So there's that. Also, you can see my points are pretty low. I think I spent about 180,000 points this year on Southwest. I actually had a lot more about a couple weeks ago, but as you all know, Southwest is devaluing their points on January 1st. So I just, emptied the whole thing out, just get it all out because once you were dealing on January 1st, they're going to be worth a lot less value. So I just got rid of as many as I possibly could. So the reason why I put the Marriott here, which is not an airline, is because I did actually end up getting Titanium Elite status. This does go back to the point where I mentioned the Ritz-Carlton versus the Bonvoy Brilliant situation. So Bonvoy Brilliant gets you 25 Elite Night credits, and then I have the Bonvoy Business too, which gets you 15 Elite Night credits. So you have 40 total, which is helpful. And then you say 10 more nights, you get to 50. At 50, one of the awards they give you with Marriott is 5 Elite Night credits for free if you'd like to, among other types of benefits. And so that would get you to 55. And then you have to spend another 20 more nights to get to Titanium. So even though I stayed 76 nights, I actually only stayed 21. Mental math fart here. 25 plus 15 plus 5, 45, 75, 31. Say 31 nights this year. And so I just barely made it over to Titanium Elite. But why that's important is because when you get Titanium Elite, you get United Premier Silver, right? And so I have that. Now, did I get to Titanium Elite to get Premier Silver? No. but it's there, so I'll take it. It's fine. I have a couple United flights coming up in the next, next year, so I'll get to benefit from that. But I'm not really like worried about it. The one thing I will say about the airline status, though, is that if you have airline incidental credits, there's nothing that the credits can't do that the status cannot do, unless you talk about things like upgrades, like component upgrades. But those are few and far between, and so I don't really value those as much. I really look at things like priority check back or check bag, priority boarding. Those things are kind of the ones that I really look for to make sure that I have a good airline experience. And it's much nicer to on Southwest because Southwest, as you know, Greyhound bus, you got to fight for your seat, sort of thing. So having an earlier boarding position is going to be like a lot better if you can. So there's that. Okay, next question, Aaron. Nice. Definitely one I'm going to try and catch real time, referring to the live stream. Any good travel plans for 2024? We did talk about that a little bit. I talked about the international, but I do also have a lot of domestic too, and that's listed here. I do have a lot of trips planned, and I think if a lot of you are in the travel points and miles game, you should plan on traveling a lot as well in 2024. That's the reason why we do this. I definitely do a lot more domestic trips than I do international trips. And so all these domestic trips are basically things like, going to weddings for friends, going to conferences, both for what I do for my primary job as well as for YouTube as well. And so these are what I have got going on at this point. So I would say they're more of a mix of personal and business. What's nice about these conference trips is that I can go and still enjoy the city while at the same time going and learning something from the conference. And so that's what I got going on. We mentioned already the international trips to Japan, Thailand, and Singapore because that's going to be for my honeymoon. So that's going to be great.